Welcome to episode 527 of Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to making the competitive side of the game more accessible to you. It is Wednesday, December 17th, 2025, in the evening. Coming to you from Nomergon, Ohio, it's me, Edelweiss. From Northrend, Massachusetts, we have Wicked Good.
Hi.
From Teldrassil, California, we have Megasa.
Hello.
And from all around the world, we have you, dear listeners. This week's episode is brought to you by our producers, Number Theory, Kresh, Beef Squatch, David P., Jeremy T., Bottle Caps, Grumpy Monk, The Burger Club, Kirk Regan, May, NY Kiwi, Spine, and Grizzly Bear. And by our patrons of the week, Brian Brain and TR Highlands. You can go to patreon.com/coinconcede to get perks like thank you at the top of the show, bonus post-show content, early access to new episodes, and help support the show in the process. If you would like to support the show but cannot do it so monetarily, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on your podcast feed of choice, as it always helps other people find the show. Yeah, how's everyone doing? Megasa, would you like to start?
So, on the one hand, it's the week before winter break at school, and everybody is like, can it be winter break yet mode. I have had a number of students absent for the beginning of class, or they're remote this week because it's one-on-one. There is some flexibility for them being able to be remote, although it's better when they're here. But when the students are in class, we're still doing well. And I've, been trying to catch up a little bit on the reading that they're going to do over break and figure out, how we can come back. But it's nice because I don't actually have finals to grade, unlike most teachers. So that is very helpful, but that did give me a little bit more time to play Hearthstone this week, especially the past 2 days, because we decided that we wanted to talk about Aura Paladin, and I'd been playing that a little bit. I played it a little bit more. I wanted to hit Legend before the show. I hit Legend 15 minutes before the show. After hitting the final boss 3 times, and I had started to have really long queue times, because I think most people who'd gotten 11x had already hit Legend by now. So it was giving me 1-2 minute queue times, not super, super long, but usually it's more like 30 seconds. So it was a little bit noticeable. And I was running into people playing sort of new fun stuff, which would probably explain why they were 11x but not at Legend, no minion demon hunter and stuff like that. So that did make life a little easier with the Aura Paladin, but I did make it in. I came in at 649, which I'm very pleased with and was not necessarily expecting. I had a pretty good win rate today. Previously, I had not had the greatest win rate this month. And still playing a little bit of Blueprints. At the start of the game, this is not a spoiler, it says your goal is to reach the mysterious room 46. I reached the mysterious room 46. The end credits roll, but it turns out there is a lot more after that. So,
in true roguelike fashion, yeah.
In true roguelike fashion, it's like when you beat Hades for the first time, and then it turns out you have only just begun the story. The game is old at this point. Sorry if I spoiled anyone for it. When you beat Hades for the first time, there's still a lot after. I don't think that's a huge spoiler.
There is a lot. If you know anything about the amount of text lines written for that game, there's a lot of text yet to be uncovered.
Yes. So I'm still figuring out in Blueprints what is going on lore-wise, and there's these classrooms that you can find, and you're recreating the lore of the world from the students' homework, in which they've made errors, so you have to watch out for the students' errors and look at the different homework to sort of try to figure out what the best answers are. And of course, that drew my interest, and I wanted to ace the classroom final exam. So it does get to a point where, and earlier in the game, you're making discoveries all the time. Once you've started there's a lot of things left to explore, but each run doesn't have as many new things on average, I would say. And there was one puzzle that I came across recently that I won't say what it is, but when I found it, I just went to the forum channel where I'm discussing this in the Discord and was just I found this room, WTF. And everyone was yep, we were waiting for you to find that room. Let us know if you give up.
Wait. WTF as in challenging, or as in unhinged content?
A little of both.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Not like the game is not like not safe for work, but it's
right. Yeah.
The puzzle involved like a visual puzzle, and the visuals were very strange. And also, I'm not super great at visual puzzles. Like visual wordplay puzzles is not my strongest suit. So,
sure.
But I'm also stubborn, so we'll see.
Well, how about you, Wicked?
I've been playing some Aura Paladin. I've been playing a slightly different list because I found something on competitive Hearthstone. We'll talk about it in Decksplanations. I have been kind of up and down. I'm a 10x, so it's still kind of grindy, and I haven't had a whole lot of stamina. I think I said last week, work's been taking a lot out of me, and so I'm not always in a great like mental state to play at a high level. So and I think I'm okay with that, knowing that like work's been taking a whole lot out of me. I think my schedule's been a little bit better this week. I haven't had as many days that are starting early and ending late, though I did have one day that started at 7 a.m., went all the way through 5, and then I had an 8 to 9:30 meeting after that. And I was feeling it the next day. So I'm kind of giving myself a little bit of grace that I'm not necessarily playing at my best right now, because it kind of needs a level of focus that I don't have. But it's not the deck's fault, and it's not really, I'm not even blaming myself necessarily, because like I'm doing whatever I can, but it's just like I'm playing at like 70%, which is going to make it so that it's a lot of win one, lose one, which is what I've been seeing. And I'm still like Diamond 4, so I'm playing against mostly meta decks, but then, people who are playing weird stuff that they're just successful enough to kind of hit hit containment. And so I'm losing to some of those because I don't know what they're doing, or they're doing weird things, and it's fine. It's whatever. I'm enjoying the Aura Paladin. It's felt better to me than I was kind of getting a little bit frustrated with the Demon Hunter, just because like it is so draw dependent, and sometimes you don't draw Blavatar and everything sucks. But the Aura Paladin's felt a little bit better, but I've just been, it's been tough sledding, and it doesn't help that I've kind of fallen down a rabbit hole, or more accurately a pit, because I bought Ball Pit when it went on sale this weekend. And if you have anything else to do, don't buy that game, because it is very addictive. It's a roguelike where you're effectively like shooting a bunch of like pachinko balls up at a stream of things that are coming down at you, and then you can get special balls that do things, and then the balls will fuse together they power up, and then they fuse together so that they're doing two things at the same time, or they evolve into a completely different ball that then confused with something else. And you go through your run, you either win or you don't, and then you go to a base building mode where you're also shooting balls at the bases in order to, but the balls are workers that are either building the buildings by hitting them, or harvesting like wood and wheat and whatever by running over the forests and the fields and whatever. It's weird, but it is incredibly addictive. I've been playing it on the Steam Deck in bed before I go to sleep. It's very good for tiring your eyes out because there's a lot going on, and and I've just been playing it a lot, and it's a very, very good game. And don't buy it if you have anything else to do, because you will get sucked into a pit, like I did. So, how about you at all? You're feeling better this week than you were last week?
I am. My wife is not. My daughter is, but not fully recovered. She still has a bit of a cough. Yeah, I somehow just got lucky on this one, where I had a very light cough for 1 or 2 days, maybe a little bit of runny nose, and then I was fine, which is phenomenal, because
yeah,
we'll get to this. I have work to do this weekend, and my work requires my voice. So, yeah, I would otherwise be mastering the art of muting when not speaking, and having a constant stream of throat coat, which I have done before, but do not relish. So, fortunately, don't have to do that. Yeah, in terms of Hearthstone, I've been playing Arena, which seems like a foolish decision based on my having to cast this weekend, except we'll get into lineups. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be fine.
No Rafam Warlock for you to learn then, in that case?
No Rafam Warlock, no Spell, Demon Hunter, no surprises. Not even Toki Mage.
Oh.
Which is probably for the best, because those games would go long.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't need another hour long. Can you imagine a Toki Mage mirror? It would be entertaining for viewers, but not for casters or players, I don't think.
And then that's the deck they would put into next year's Brawl.
You know they would, yeah.
There is a bunch of control decay, but generally not involving that kind of expected outcome, right? People varied on whether they have Marin or, maybe the occasional one has Naralax. It looks like a lot of Marins, actually. I much prefer Marin to Kil'jaeden when it comes to a delay fatigue a little bit, or come up with powerful how do I end the game stuff, right? I much prefer, all right, let's roll the dice and see what this hand of legendaries is, to
I mean, at least the game still ends, right? It's having to go through the 10 turns of, oh well, I need to be able to play 2 spells a turn, and whoever runs out of 2 spells a turn is going to lose, so I'm going to preserve my way to do that. And then one person's going to run out, but it's going to take us 20 minutes to figure out which one it's going to be. Yeah.
Yep.
So I am mostly doing Arena for quest completion, and then I am back in TTRPG designer mode. In the last year, we had both Daggerheart and Draw Steel get released, and I love both of these games. Starting in a week or so, I'm going to be running a Daggerheart campaign that is basically Delicious in Dungeon. That's if you're familiar with that show, that's the campaign frame we're using. And I was like, what if I just, for my prep for each session, just write it in adventure format, and then I can put that online for other people to also use, because there's not enough Daggerheart adventures out there. And then for Draw Steel, I understand why they did it, but Draw Steel is specifically tactical, heroic, cinematic. I forget their fourth keyword, but it's a game that knows exactly what it is. That means all of the classes, for the most part, need some kind of explanation why they are doing superhero-like things at high level. There's not just a fighter. The closest thing is the tactician who maneuvers their allies. There's not just a rogue. It's a shadow who's gone to a college of sorcery kind of thing. It's stealthy. So there's got to be an explanation for how you do really, really weird stuff at high level. So I'm Ranger is my favorite thing. It does not exist as a class in this game. You can kind of get there with certain builds of a shadow or certain builds of a tactician, but not quite. I was I'm going to make my version. And what I'm actually designing is a Witcher class. That's what I'm designing. Because that's the only way I could get the sort of supernatural element that explains high level features, is to be okay, there's different schools modeled after predatory animals. The class is called the Predator, which is in theme with the vibes of the game. And yeah, the schools are kind of like Witcher schools.
A game with no rogues, you say?
It's called the Shadow. Okay. it's similar but different, you know.
I just heard it has no rogue. That's all I heard. So
look, it doesn't have a cleric or a priest either, right? It's the conduit.
Oh, okay.
So people criticize the name differences, and I'm like, yeah, but read the book. They're more than just name differences. Like these operate quite differently than what you're used to from like your classic array of bard, fighter, rogue, wizard, cleric, right? Like it's not just a name change.
It's a way of signaling to the player that, hey, you should pay attention to the changes that we made on this. You're not just playing a normal wizard or a normal whatever. I always pick a wizard. So people would think that I always pick a priest or a cleric. But in role-playing games, wizard, always. I tried... Well, one time I was an arcanist, which is a wizard. Just with an asterisk.
There's a lot of paths in Pathfinder. Go figure.
Arcanist is like 5e wizard in Pathfinder, which normally has a 3.5 wizard.
Yeah.
For anyone who knows anything about that.
We should get to
we won't go into that.
News tournaments.
No, we're not doing news because Blizzard is closed and there's no news. But but we do have tournaments, so we should talk about those.
It's the grand tournament.
So we have our World Championship this weekend. Odds are, by the time you're listening to this episode, half of it will be done. Or all of it, I don't know, depending. We get a full 4 days this time. So, they announce on their socials and everything. We're bringing in a few special guests to join our usual casters at the #Masters Tour World Championship. Tune in from December 18th to 21st, when our amazing guest casters will be sharing their expertise. Derek will also be there. You got your regular lineup, right? Myself, Lorinda, Raven, and Sottle. And then we have some lovely guests. Banterface, Cora, Rekvam, and Derek. So, I'm excited to get the chance to cast with Cora, I believe, on Friday. I think we're doing Banter Thursday. And I forget who's on which day, but in terms of Rekvam and Derek for Saturday and Sunday. But it should be a really fun time. This was a well-planned tactic by TJ to get us a 5 rotation and not kill us, while also having us be able to cast for 4 days, because if you have been following HS Esports for the last couple of years, we've not been able to broadcast every single match. We've tended to do one of the groups matches off stream. So it's like when groups start, 2 matches are happening at the same time. We cast one, and there's another one happening. Then we go on to winners to see who makes it out of that group for sure, and then we would cast the 2 elimination matches. This time, it's going to be a little bit different. We are going to cast like Group A and B, all the matches, right? All the non-elimination matches. So basically, we're taking all the elimination matches and putting them on Saturday. And that means that Thursday and Friday are like Group A, Group B, the non-elimination matches, and then Group C, Group D, the non-elimination matches. And then, Saturday is every match somebody's going home, as it were. Which is brutal, but also exciting. So,
yeah, but it also means that everybody gets time on stream, which is not always. I mean, they all get time on stream, but they all get their full matches on stream, and as opposed to just getting like one match on stream if they're eliminated quickly or something like that, right? So that is good.
Like it was the previous way, and this was sort of the best we could do to just like make sure that everyone got on camera, because I feel like at times there were other things proposed where we were like, no, everyone who qualified, who made it, like, needs to get on camera. That needs to happen. And so that's why we would, no matter what, cast elimination matches, so that if you happened that your first match of groups was off broadcast and then you played an elimination match and you lost, well, you still got one of your matches broadcast, right? Like, these people have earned that camera time. But this time, fortunately, the program has been flourishing under TJ, and we have the wonderful opportunity to cast every single match, which I'm really excited about. I forget the last time that has happened. It's been a while.
It has, and it probably was. I would imagine it was back when there was a 6-caster rotation. It must have been Grandmaster's era.
Maybe. Like, I think it was before me.
Yeah.
Before my time.
Yeah, that must have been Grandmaster's era when Gia and Derek were still casting, and they had 6, right? Because then TJ had the spot that's yours now. I know that you were casting alongside him, but Yeah,
well, I always think of it as like I sort of subbed in where Gia was, right?
Yeah.
Because it was like Gia got hired, and then they put out the call for that, like, last call of Grandmasters, where they had different guests for a few weeks to sort of find talent. I presume that's always what I assumed was happening, was they were sort of like, oh gosh, Gia's getting hired, which means we're gonna be short staff. Let's find people. So, and that's how I was lucky enough to get called up. At any rate, yeah, in terms of enough reminiscing. In terms of the lineups, as I referenced earlier, it's a good thing they're the best players in the world, because the lineups are uninspiring. If you were hoping for something new, well, there's 2 copy druids, and one of them's Pocket. So, Pocket and Fury bring in the spice. Pocket has not only copy druid, but Megasa, he has Dragon Warrior.
Yes. Everyone else mostly has Quest Warrior, but he and Fury brought Dragon Warrior.
Now, this is a little different than your builds that you've been playing. It's definitely, Elise, it's got Neralex and Fireack, but yeah, I mean, it's Dragon Warrior.
It's still a Dragon Warrior. And yeah, I mean, this is definitely, I mean, it does have the Bloodborne Unholy control DK, but the Hagatha Shaman and the Dragon Warrior, despite being the Elise Dragon Warrior, it's like at least a little bit faster there in overall in terms of the lineup. I forgot to say in Life and Ladder, I ran into 5 of that BBU control DK in a row.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
You must have been thrilled about that.
After I'd had a coaching where our last game was against a BBU control DK.
I thought you were going to say that they asked you to play BBU DK. It's like you're asking for the wrong coach, but no, they're just playing against it. Okay.
Shout out to NY Kiwi, who knows better. But yeah, it was, luckily I didn't lose all of them, or it would have been interesting in the Salt Mine channel.
Yeah.
But we will be seeing plenty of that BBU control DK in this tournament.
Yeah.
Either they brought BBU control DK or they brought Quest Warrior, or both. There's at least one hard control deck in each lineup, it looks like.
Yeah, there's 12 BBU control DKs.
Yeah, I think you got 12 Quest Warriors as well, right?
Yep, 12 and 12.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, 2 didn't bring Warrior, 2 brought Dragon Warrior, the rest are Quest Warriors.
In case I had any hope of being able to speak next Monday.
I'm sure there won't be too many mirrors.
Yeah, and then hilariously, I feel like Discover Hunter, when it sort of first took center stage, was Pocket, and he was like the only person to have it, and now he's the only person, or one of 2 people not to have it. He and Fury must have practiced together. They looks like they have the same lineup.
I mean, also, that's just like Pocket, that like once everybody else catches on, he goes to find something else.
Right.
That sounds very Pocket.
Yeah.
So,
but
yeah.
Yeah, he and Fury are the only ones not to have Discover Hunter with their BBU Control Decay, Copy Druid, Hagatha Shaman, and Dragon Warrior. So
at least Discover Hunter is a fun deck to watch, I think, because the games are all so different. There's so many decisions to be made. So I'm not unhappy to hopefully see a lot of that on the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9 Cycle Rogues.
Cycle Rogue I could live without. Like, that's that not so much, but yeah.
9 Cycle, 1 Protoss. The Shamans are all, the Shaman.
Egglock. 2 people brought Egglock.
Indeed.
That's something I
Inkuro
wasn't expecting.
and Philfiel. And Philfiel, people may recall, was the All Starships player. No longer feels comfortable doing that, it seems, which, fair.
is I'm sure correct.
Yeah.
Apparently for the Cycle Rogue, Banter did a cast in English unofficially of the Chinese tournament, and apparently the Cycle Rogue did quite well there. So makes sense then that people would pick up on that.
I think Lori watched the whole thing, so I will be relying on their insights into the China scene, who have a much more grueling qualification process. Not that it isn't hard enough for everyone else to get to Worlds, but gosh, the China qualification process is rigorous.
Worth noting that all the 3 of the 4 Chinese players brought Cycle Rogue. Only Tianming did not.
Yeah. And I want to say Yanming is our previous world champion.
Yep.
Yeah. So there is a potential for a run back, right?
Yeah. We've never had it.
I guess I've been talking about all this, but haven't actually run through the list of players. We have Definition, Pocket Train, Tansoku, Xiaoti, Chonsu, Insane, Yanming, Soyerin, Philfiel, Gabby, View, Lovestorm, Fury Hunter, Inkuro, Maxibon, and Tianming. And yeah, this is quite a stacked group of players, as would be expected. I feel like the newer sort of faces here are Insane, who's like unknown name but hasn't gotten this far before. Philfiel, Inkuro.
Is Definition new? I don't remember. Maybe? I don't know if I remember.
I remember Definition. Yeah.
And notably, no participants from Americas. Not
indeed. That's why we had to bring Banter on for commentary. He couldn't be here any other way, so he almost got there. But
yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing him. I'm looking forward to hearing Cora. For anyone listening who does not know who Cora is, she is both a senior designer on the Hearthstone team and a former caster.
Yeah.
So
and also a former host of this show.
Yeah, a founder of this show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very, very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
For which we are very grateful.
Yeah, I have felt at times the burden of heir to her legacy, both on the podcast and in casting.
Yeah, a little bit of what I had with Hat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have a very different style except for liking aggro decks. But
I'm just
it can be hard to come in after someone. You already had a brand when you came on.
Right.
True.
You had your own show. It just fused with this one.
Yeah, my co-host kicked me off of that one. Yeah. So,
the decks to get excited for: Dragon Warrior, Copy Druid, Egglock.
Wow. I don't know if we're getting excited about Egglock, but it's definitely something we don't see a lot of. So.
Yeah. So this Copy Druid, the plan here is the Dread Deserter, the pirate with charge when you copy it.
They might have different lists. Fury has Briarspawn Drake. Oh, they both. Okay. So yeah, you've got two options.
You have to have a couple of different lines because you don't always draw the one of, right?
Right.
Yeah, and Dread Deserter says it has charge if it didn't start in your deck. It's important to note that the copies did not start in your deck. So those do have charge, even if the original one that you play doesn't.
Yeah. And you don't care about the 6 damage, you care about the 40.
Yeah, exactly.
So and of course Briarspawn Drake is Beeg, So if your opponent has, minions in play, then they don't have a face anymore. So it's there had been some of them that were like also had Aulonius just as like, well, we have swipe and ebb and flow, and sometimes you get triple owl and the opponent explodes. But it seems they've gone for a more defensive approach here with Eridar Brute as the 7 2-ofs. So if you're against something like Agatha Shaman, you can, get that out cheaply and just make a bunch of huge lifesteal taunts.
Yeah.
Discover Hunter as well, right? Because Discover Hunter struggles with a bunch of really big stuff and goes wide with alien encounters.
Makes sense. And the copy location has multiple uses, plus you might get another one from Elise. So, unless it gets Demolition Renovator. Is anyone running Demolition Renovator?
I think if there is an edge to be had, it is against the players that do not have that. It looks like Tansoku has it. I'm just checking the DKs. Insane has it. Yeah, okay, a decent number of folks do have Demolition Renovator. I think there was maybe speculation that folks would not, but like with Elise being everywhere, it doesn't surprise me that it's in like half the lists.
But you do have a little bit of redundancy there because you have the Elise. You can get the copy off the Elise location. I mean, it may only be a 5/5, but 5/5 isn't that much smaller than 6/6 if your plan is to go through the Dread Deserter. And you also have Zinajari, and you're running double scrapbooking student, in addition to Welcome Home and stuff like that. So yeah.
Scrapbooking student is what's really doing it, because the idea is that you empower the location so that you're doubling the stats, and the Elise location won't do that.
Ideally, yeah, but you don't have to, right?
Well, in a control matchup, you would.
Yeah, you're also running double New Heights. Like you could theoretically go for a 10-mana location with Elise and just turn them into 10/10s, and that's again, it's not 12/12, but it's close, right? So
there's a fair number of Demolition Renovators in the the DKs and the Warriors. So I think the way they're going to have to play that is just making sure in those matchups to not play Zinajari until they can copy it.
Yeah.
Which against a control deck is probably fun.
Just wait till you have 9 mana. Not actually a huge deal.
Yeah.
Plus, they get to play Welcome Home, so like that's cool.
Yes, they can celebrate the new housing features in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, reopen a location, give it a death rattle you don't care about.
I got that for free off of a Discover spell from Elise. So I had copied my Tankgineer, and then I was like, sure, I'll just for free copy my Tankgineer again. As a 5/5, that sounds fine.
Yeah, so I think the Welcome Home is a nod to the fact that they know there's going to be a bunch of Demolition Renovators, because then so the sequence is like, okay, you don't play the doubling location until you can scrapbook student it so you to get a copy. And then even though you can't have as many of them in play, being able to use Welcome Home to activate a single one twice in one turn is the same difference.
Yeah.
So,
and also sometimes you just have to chew through a lot of armor, and you just need to fill up your board. And that also, it lets you create another copy without taking up another spot with a location, right? Because the locations do take up a spot on the board, and if you're not using up the last activation, then you can run out of room for things to actually kill the opponent. So Welcome Home is a way to get an extra copy without using up another board space on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, not really a lot else to say. Should be exciting. I'm nervous about the Quest Warrior matchups. I hope that I'm just not going to see a lot of Quest Warrior that isn't banned. I have not checked out the numbers to see what people are realistically going to be banning, but gosh, I hope it's Quest Warrior for everyone's sanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one of those games yesterday where I got the Quest Warrior to 1, and then they stabilized, and then they played their Time Warp. Brutal. Yeah.
Inevitably, when you do that, then they play. Then it doesn't matter who it is. They just play Ziliax, and then they're no longer at 1. So.
Yeah, I think it might have been Ziliax was the stabilizing thing, and I was thinking like, this is the kind of game that Wicked would love to be on the other end of.
No, I hate Ziliax, and I'm so ready for it to go. I hate that card at this point. It's just like dumb.
I am ready for it to go as well.
Yeah, it's just like I don't want every class to have lifesteal. I only want the classes that I like to play to have lifesteal. That's the difference. I am not for democratization of lifesteal.
This last hurrah has kind of exacerbated the issue because at this point, the aggressive forms have been nerfed so much that they don't really see use. And because things want a 9 for Elise, it's just the best 9. And so it's everywhere, right? You just always have to factor like, okay, I've been doing pretty well on the beatdown, but if turn 9 happens, this is going to get reset. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So just remember, if you're watching this live, go do choose your champion. I did choose Pocket Train because again, no one ever got fired for buying IBM. And also make sure to check that your Twitch account is linked to your Battle.net account so you can get drops for watching the tournament throughout the weekend. It never hurts to just double check that everything's linked up appropriately and that you're going to be able to get your packs. It should be an exciting tournament, and we also want to show support for esports where we don't have to worry about it disappearing from underneath us this year like we have in prior years, because we've gotten the announcement already that there will be a Worlds next year at BlizzCon, but the viewership always helps. So do be sure to watch it. We are going to talk about a deck that is not at all represented in any of those lineups, but still could be something that you could play on ladder, which is Aura Paladin. So we're going to go talk about that.
All right, so we're talking about Aura Paladin, a deck that also does play 9-mana Perfect Twin Ziliax. But it also plays some new cards, such as the Paladin Fabled. I'm sure by this point, people have seen this deck around. The idea, basically, as has been for Aura Paladin, is we get Gelbin out, profit, right? Crusader Aura, really important there because you make things that are really large and kind of sticky with the auras. They're protected by your taunts, and then you can do a bunch of damage all at once when you do go face. This version, some of the earlier Aura Paladin builds were trying to be a little more aggressive or like turbo out the Gelbin. Because of the meta that we're in, that's a little slower. And because of Elise, this one is an Elise deck, right? That is taking in the mid game like a tank Janir and or Elise angle, or you're playing Ursine Maul to make sure that you get your Gelbin on time and do 8 damage. We have 2 copies of Tank Janir and 2 copies of Carnivorous Cubicle. We also have one, depending on which version you're running, the highest win rate version has 1 Spike Ridged Steed, which is the 5 mana, give a minion +2/+6 and taunt when it dies, summon a Stegodon. So that can be an alternative thing to do with your Tank Janir, like follow up to the Carnivorous Cubicle, or you could do both, I guess. I don't know that you would want to do both. And in the early game, you're doing things like Creature of Madness, Righteous Protector, Hardlight Protector. We have a little bit of a Divine Shield theme because we are running Toreth, just because it's so much stall and also keeps your board alive so that you can keep ramming it face with Crusader Aura. So we have Hardlight Protector, which has a Divine Shield and gives you a Divine Shield. That's the new 2-drop. We have 1 Divine Brew. I mostly have not gotten Divine Brew to work super well with Toreth. It is good when you get it to do that, but most of the time it's just like, oh, if I draw this early, I'm keeping my early minions alive with the Divine Brew. Or I'm doing a good mid-game trade.
Or you protect your face with it, which is sometimes a valid play to be playing with it too.
Yeah, so wherever you can use it, that's helpful. You don't have to save it for Toreth necessarily unless you have a specific plan for that. We have Tigress plushie to stay alive. You can play some of the auras out. So the auras that we're running are Crusader Aura, Gnomish Aura, which is one of the fabled ones. That's at the end of your turn, restore 4 health to all your characters. Chronological Aura is the one that summons the 3/5 dragon with Taunt. That one's not Fabled or Trade. Mechatorx Aura is the Fabled one that at the end of your turn gives a random friendly minion +4/+4 and Divine Shield. And that's it. You have the 4 auras. We don't really need a 5th one. You can get like a double of an aura up. I don't think you can have more than 5 auras.
No,
it's like secrets. You have 5 slots. Yeah.
But you can have like 2 Crusader auras, for example, and they will stack. So you will get +4 attack if you have 2 of them up. Note that if you have a Crusader aura like in play, and then you play Gelbin, and the other Crusader aura is in your deck, it won't cast the Crusader aura in your deck because you already have one up. But if you like play Gelbin first, he plays a Crusader aura from your deck, and then you play one from your hand, now you do have 2 of them up. So that's like, Gelbin won't play a duplicate, but you can play a duplicate, if that makes sense. And sometimes that +4 attack is real nice. Or you can get a couple, I've only done this once, but you can also get like a couple chronological auras up at the same time. You almost never want to pay full mana for the tradable auras. The only time that I have done that was when I drew Mechatorx Aura on 8 mana, and I was like, well, I'm still playing Gelbin because I need Gelbin. So I played Gelbin, and then I played Mechatorx Aura like a turn or a couple turns after when I had the mana for it. So it was just a poor draw, but I decided I wasn't going to waste a whole turn trading it and not getting Gelbin down just to maybe get the Mechatorx Aura. So a really nice thing that you can do, like your sort of ideal 7, 8, 9, and you can get this quite consistently because of Ursine Maul, is you can, if they have a scary board, you can Anachronos on 7. Their board is still gone when you Gelbin on 8, except for whatever they played in between. And then you Ziliax on 9, and you have Crusader Aura up when you Ziliax. And you've stabilized, you have ways to deal with when their board comes back. So the top end really synergizes very nicely together.
Yeah. And an important thing to note with Anachronos, which is it's easy to get these things confused. It is different from Red Card because the minions come back on your turn, not on your opponent's turn. This is an important thing because if you're like red carding a Ziliax, the Ziliax comes back and it gets rush, it gets to trade something off and heal them. If you are Anachronosing, you get to decide when that comes back and you get to react to it before the opponent gets to use it again, which is, it is an important distinction.
Yeah, you can trade it off with like your Ziliax when it comes back for them.
But the flip side of that is that when they come back, they will be able to attack because they came back on your turn, not on their turn. So if anything that you let live on that turn will be able to attack on their following turn.
Right.
Yeah. And it will be in whatever exact state that it was when it got poofed, except if they've rebuilt their board. Obviously, they can't go over the board limit, so if they've rebuilt a board, then they might not get everything back if they had a large board when you poofed it. I guess we can talk a little bit about some of the different builds. There is a build, this is what I've been playing, because I wanted to play the new card, okay? There are builds with Cardboard Golem. Actually, I've been playing a build very slightly different from this. Mine only had one Cardboard Golem, and it also had a Demolition Renovator. But you can play it. I would say it can be helpful in longer control matchups, which are our worst matchups in general, because it does give you an extra turn of all the stuff from Gelbin, or if you play, other ones after, like you can more easily stack the Crusader auras. So it does have a role. You don't necessarily keep it in the mull, though. I would say don't keep it.
I feel like it's one of those cards that is deceptive, right? Because the nature of the effect invites you to say, well, obviously I keep this, right? Because it's like, this affects all my auras and I want to make sure they last longer. But the way that this deck actually uses the auras, they're often not coming down until later, right? Like, particularly since you're striving to use Gelbin to do it. It's not until turn 8. So, like, what's really important is that you have your Ursine Maul to be able to draw the Gelbin, not that you get your cardboard golem down. Because if you get your cardboard golem down but never see Gelbin, that's going to be a bad time.
Yeah. Though it's also worth noting that this deck has a pretty high curve. And just having anything to do on turn 3 sometimes is just like a vanilla 3/3 is better than hero powering. I don't think that that's worth keeping it in the mulligan, but it is valid sometimes just as a body, like a warm body on turn 3 that you can play is better than some of the, because the other lists before that, I think were just running Zephyrus as their only 3-drop. I mean, you also have, if you get something out of Creature of Madness, obviously you can play that on 3, but those are the only things that would get you something to do on 3. And that can be kind of rough, especially if you're getting tempo down early. That can sometimes make it pretty hard to catch back up.
I will prioritize playing a 3-drop from Creature of Madness if I got a good one, or sometimes coining to do 2 4s if I'm on the coin, because we have a lot more 4s. But yeah, if you have nothing better to do, then definitely just play the cardboard golem. But you can also, like, you don't need the cardboard golem until your auras are about to run out.
Yeah.
And it's almost a tech card for the slower matchups. In the faster matchups, it's just a 3/3, which can be valuable, as we said, because we have a high curve. And sometimes you have struggle versus aggro if you just only draw your high curve. But yeah, it's deceptive. It has I've noticed playing it that it has a pretty high keep rate and a low mulligan impact. So that's a trap that a lot of people are falling into. Also, don't keep Wisp, guys. Don't do it. Even if they're an aggro deck, just you want your Righteous Protector, you want your Hard Light Protector, you want Creature of Madness. You give yourself a chance to draw those. Yeah.
Wisp is not here to play. Wisp is here to turn on Elise. That's the only reason Wisp is here.
Yeah. Essentially, you're getting a draw by by throwing it away. So I'm sure many of you know that, but just again, because when you're playing with the HS Replay deck tracker, you can see the keep rate, and it is higher than it should be on Wisp.
Yeah, deck tracker doesn't tell you what to do. It tells you what other people are doing, and sometimes other people are bad.
It's definitely like if something has a high mulligan impact but like a really low keep rate, I am suspicious of that, because it often means that that's a low sample size situation. But if it has a high keep rate and a low mulligan impact, like, think about it. It could be that people are being trapped by it. It can also be dependent on the particular matchup, the rest of the hand. Like, it just is a flag to, like, think about this a little bit. So it's kind of the combination of those two stats can be helpful if you're having that up when you're playing with Deck Tracker, or you're looking at the stats on HS Replay or on HS Guru. In terms of like the order that we're playing our 4-drops, it does depend. I try to get the Tanktioneer is better earlier, because the 7/7 with Divine Shield is better earlier. It's much more likely to be something they can't deal with, right? You also need to give it more time to die, or have it out so you can immediately curve it into Carnivorous Cubicle. Sometimes I'll play it second. Like, if I'm on the coin, I might coin out a different 4-drop, then play Tanktioneer on 4, then play Cubicle on 5 to get that curve. Sometimes I might play Elise instead if there's like a particular location I'm looking for, or I might play, you do want to make sure that you get the Ursine Maul down, unless you've naturally drawn Gelbin. Make sure you get the Ursine Maul down by, technically you don't really need it until 7 mana, because if you swing on 7, and then you swing on 8, and then you Gelbin, like, you're guaranteed to get Gelbin in your second swing, because you only have one more expensive thing than Gelbin. But getting it down earlier can be nice. Then you don't have to worry about it. You can do whatever you want on 7 without having to play the weapon. You can also like save your, if you have a nice early curve, you can just save your coin to get Gelbin down a turn earlier. I have done that. That took discipline. I want you to know. As an aggro player, saving my coin until turn 7 is rough.
That's just natural for me. I'm just like, okay, whatever.
It's a planning ahead where you want your coin to be. This is a deck where you're gonna maybe have curve issues, so plan ahead on your coin usage. I did have a DK opponent. This wasn't one of the 5 in a row. This was a later one. Who took the discount cards in your hand from Grifta. I didn't emote thanks, because I feel like that's but out loud, I said, thanks. And then I played Ursine Maul, and then I played Gelbin on 7 and Zilliax on 8, and that was very effective. So, like, yes, they also discounted their hand and did some fancy stuff, but getting my power turned down a turn earlier was very helpful. And I don't really care about the spells. Right? Like, the broken version of that amulet doesn't discount spells, but, like, in this deck, who cares, you know? Not that important. If you're facing aggro, sometimes the just playing out a chronological aura on 5 can be helpful. Because even though 5 mana for a 3/5 taunt is not a great value on that turn, it's a free 3/5 taunt on the next 2 turns, and that can absolutely save you. That can be worth just playing out. The Spike Ridge Steed is a taunt. You have a little bit of healing. Nomelia is an important survival tool. And Tigress Plushie. Sometimes Tigress Plushie combined with, like, Crusader Aura, if you have time to get that down. That because the Tigress Plushie has Rush, so it gives you an opportunity to use the Crusader Aura even if you're behind on board. But Wicked, you said you found a slightly different version. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I was on Reddit yesterday, which, you know, normally is not the best of ideas, but this time it worked. And there was a post on competitive HS yesterday evening titled "Another Experienced Take on Aura Paladin," and this is a list that it's very different. And I've been playing a bunch of games with it. I'm positive with it. I said earlier in the episode, I'm not playing my best Hearthstone right now in general. So, you know, somebody who is locked in may do better than I've been doing with it, but I've got a positive win rate with it. We cut Elise for starters, right? Because the idea is to get the curve down and get it to be a more consistent deck, because sometimes you do just get one of those hands where you have a bunch of 4 and 5 drops in your hand and you just sit there hero powering and hating life. And that's one of the things that I didn't like a lot about the original version of the list, is that sometimes you just draw a wisp and a bunch of 5 and 6 drops, and then you just get blown out of the game by an opponent having a tempo start. So we're running, and we also cut the weapon, which is an interesting choice, but it does make a little bit more sense if we're cutting Zilliax because we're cutting Elise, right? So we're bringing the curve down to top out at 8, which means you don't need the weapon to swing twice to get you to Gelbin. You only need Grillmaster to his death rattle to go off once to draw you Gelbin, right? So we're running Grillmaster. Grillmaster also gets you another draw, which is usually either a Divine Brew or a Righteous Protector, and gets those out of the deck, which is kind of a nice bonus. It's not why you're playing it. Obviously, you want to get Gelbin out of it, but it's a nice bonus, assuming you can kill it off, which is not too hard. We're running Sandcastle, which is gross in this deck, by the way, and I'm surprised. I think it's probably just because there's not room in the curve in the other lists, but it is with a Crusader Aura, it is disgusting how much value you get out of a Sandcastle.
There are some people who are playing it in place of the Spike Ridge Steed in the Elise list, and it is a nice, in general, with Elise, copy is really nice in this deck, because you can copy stuff. You can copy a Toreth, you can copy a Tank Chenier, you can, if you are running Sandcastle, you can copy that, or you can copy something with Spike Ridge Steed. Like, the copy is really premium with Elise, and then I'm often taking the Raptors or plus attack or discover, like, whatever I need in that game and I'm offered. But even if you don't have that, like, Sandcastle plus Crusader Aura is pretty gross.
Yeah, because it's just 5 trade something off, give something +5 attack that you ideally are going face with, and then you get to hit something for 7 again, and then maybe it comes back in 2 turns, maybe it doesn't, but it's given you more than enough value at that point. It's also running red scale Dragon Tamer to tutor the Anachronos. Again, getting the curve down, playing a 2-drop, but also that 2-drop that gets you your Anachronos to get you into the Gelbin turn. Especially because we're not running the weapon, so you're less likely to get it out of the weapon. The weapon we're running is Metal Detector, which gives you a coin, which makes it a little bit easier to get the Gelbin out earlier, and then which means that you're running Linessa, which actually is not. It has some limited usage because you're also running Mixologist, and that's really the only 1-cost spell that you're going to be able to. Well, I guess you are also running Resistance Aura, which you can copy with Linessa. We'll get to Resistance Aura in a second, but you can copy the Mixologist spells with Linessa, which has been pretty effective. Being able to do 6 damage or 4 damage to the board when I have a board of big things, or resurrect 2 things. It's been a reasonable way to get some extra value out of the Mixologist. And Resistance Aura is just very good in this meta right now. Like, Shaman really wants to be playing spells early. Hunter wants to be playing spells. Rogue certainly wants to be playing spells. Every time that somebody has to pay mana for a prep, an angel gets its wings. Like, or having to pay for a Shadow Step is delightful. So like Resistance Aura, and especially when you can stack them, is pretty good. Or getting the Resistance Aura out of Gelbin to make it harder to react to it has been generally pretty good. And you've also got like one of Portal Vanguard, just again getting a little bit more draw. I think that's probably like the 30th card in the deck, but it's fine. But it's felt generally, again, you do feel the lack of Elise occasionally, but also you're a little bit more proactive in the early game, and you have more plays throughout the game, as opposed to having like a glut of 4s and then hoping that you hit a couple of early drops to be able to get to the point where you can do something with the 4s. So I felt like this is maybe not the perfect list, and there's probably some middle ground between this and the Elise list, but it has felt pretty effective when I've been playing it the last day.
Well, it is faster, so that does pique my interest. Elise is very strong, but I'm always interested in other takes, and there's Xavius as another way to tutor things.
Yeah.
So you certainly have plenty of draw in this version, and the sort of more standard version, it can swing back pretty hard. You do have a decent amount of lifesteal, but you can sometimes brick in the early game if you don't like draw Creature of Madness. Especially that is like early game in a box for you,
especially against wide boards, right? Like that's kind of where I felt like you're very good against like 1 or 2 big minions, especially like the Ziliaxes of the world. Like you have enough Divine Shields that you can generally kill those without healing them back up. But like if the opponent has like a wide board, it can get very hard to deal with that. Mixologist kind of comes in handy there, because then you can sometimes get the 2 damage AoE and kind of clear those out. But sometimes when your opponent gets like an early wide board and you kind of get stuck on one of those expensive hands, it's kind of hard to get the board back to be able to swing the board, unless you hit Gelbin on time and you have the time to get to Gelbin, which is sometimes the challenge against those.
Yeah, it can be a problem. Like if they have a lot of taunts, I had a Discover Warrior game. I couldn't kill their Rengari Scout for ages. And they just had so many alien encounters, just like an absurd number of alien encounters. And that is not, I mean, that's good against any deck, basically. It's just a good card. But it is hard for us. I think I cleared one of them with Numelia, but then they had more. And like another Rengari Scout that they'd been waiting. They were having the situation where you have hand space trouble because you have Rengari Scout out. I was trying to see. I can't remember if that was the Discover Hunter game where I pulled out the win anyway, but I think that might have been the one where just like sometimes you can put so many taunts in the way that they kind of have to clear their own board off against you, or you can Anachronos and make it matter less because you have a turn to build up your own really big board. before theirs comes back. But yeah, in the early game, use your Tigress plushies, use your face with the Ursine Maul, if you can, kind of anything to keep them from just gutting really, really wide, because that's hard for us to deal with. And sometimes you can't, and then they just kill you. Aggro Paladin is, I think, on HS Replay. Our worst matchup is Aggro Paladin at 32%.
And we have not included the Aura base card, right, that does 3 damage to all enemies.
No, the Reddit one actually speaks to that. They say that, to my surprise, Manifested Time Waste still is not good because most games are decided before Gelbin, when it's rarely active.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's that being active. And then mostly, though, other aggressive stuff, it does okay. Our other sort of bad common matchup is Blood Unholy Control Death Knight. That's not nearly as bad. It's like a 41% Diamond 3 Legend matchup. We're super good into Protoss Mage. So listener, if you hate Protoss Mage, that's a 62.5% matchup for us. 58.9% into Quest Warrior, which is an interesting dichotomy. I think it's the leeches is the difference there. Because the leeches can get going early, they're wide, they're hard for you to clear, and they're just doing damage to your face. Like, they actually get you down and kind of go wide and can almost aggro you down sometimes. So, and you're putting your damage into not dying from their leeches and stuff, whereas Quest Warrior doesn't have enough clears to really deal with your big spike necessarily. And so I can see why that is a better matchup than the Control Death Knight.
Plus, the leeches kill some of the smaller Divine Shield minions through the Divine Shield, which is,
they don't care about Divine Shield.
Yeah, which is also makes those kind of your key defensive tools early game, and the Death Knight just doesn't care because they just die.
Yeah. So Quest Warrior is a good matchup. Control Death Knight, not a good matchup. Ravenous Cliffdive Hunter, we are slightly unfavored. I think just because Blob of Tars, like, yes, we do have Divine Shield, so that helps, but also they can just have like a lot of them. Mid-range Shaman is about even, but we're slightly favored just because they don't go as wide. You can stabilize and turn the corner, and then they can't really deal with all your taunts very well.
Yeah. But if they get the taunt that copies itself early and buffed, like, it's very hard for you to deal with that and come back from it, I've found. I mean, sometimes you can, but that's a lot of stats to be able to deal with that early, and sometimes it's just too much. Especially if you get a slow hand, which you can.
Yeah, if you get a little bit of a faster hand, I've definitely been able to deal with it. If they have like the 5/5 on 3 and you don't have good stuff in your hand, then, you know, that they got their good draw, you didn't, you know.
Yeah,
happens
that happens. Sometimes it'd be like that, yeah.
Discover Hunter is about even, 50.7%. That might be, let me check Legend. Legend, still about even. Legend top 1K. Suddenly, Discover Hunter gets a big edge in top 1K, although I think it's a low sample size.
That's also player skill, right? I mean, I'm sure that's the Discover Hunter players are better at playing the Discover Hunter than they are at lower ranks.
Yeah. I think the Discover Hunter is a higher skill cap deck, as they say, than the Aura Paladin, where there's just so much more flexibility. We crush the Reform Warlocks, but so does everything. So
that's kind of like the "you must be this tall to ride" sign of the meta, that you need to at least be able to beat Reform Warlock. If you can't beat that, then you're in trouble.
Interestingly, Control Mage cannot beat Reform Warlock. But what is Control Mage? Oh, Toki. Toki cannot beat Reform Warlock. Yeah. The best into Reform Warlock is Cliffdive Demon Hunter at 77.1%.
Good job, Cliffdive Demon Hunter. You did it.
But a lot of decks are over 60, over 65 into the Reform Warlock. So, yeah. Sadly, it improved, but like I predicted last time, it could improve a lot and still be very bad. Actually, it didn't even improve all that much. It's at 38.4%. I feel like it was like 31% or 32%. So actually that is a pretty big jump, but still has it at the bottom of tier 4.
Yeah. And like it's not even like people are running dirty rats, I don't think.
No. People's tech slot is the killer location one.
Demolition Renovator, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, because I've heard like, oh, they should make it summon, not play, right? So that way,
you're not getting to playing that 10-drop Rafam. I got bad news. If you think that
Yeah.
the problem is that you're not going to kill people with a 10-drop Rafam, like, you need to live to draw through 40 cards. That's your first problem. Then you worry about whether your 10-drop is going to win the game or not.
Yeah.
We were able to do that with Quest Priest because you were getting 40 health, and that helped a little bit. And you had a lot more healing than you do in the Rafam Warlock. Not that you don't have healing, but not like Priest did.
Like, I forget what deck they were hitting with the hitting Hydralisk Cavern, but I think that
was Egglock.
Yeah, right. I think that played a role in also making the Rafam deck not playable, right? Or sorry, it's playable, right? But like, yeah, pretty not so good.
Yeah, because having it also have a location. Well, plus it's hard for it to have synergy with the rest of its list because it has 40 cards.
Right.
So it's hard to run some other tight package and you also have Rafams because then it's just like you're not going to draw your other tight package as consistently. So it is like an extremely cool Leo card, but
it's very flavorful.
It's extremely flavorful. And I can see why it's decently popular despite its win rate. It is more popular still than Cliff Dive Demon Hunter, Diamond through Legend. So, Legend proper, it's slightly less popular than Cliff Dive Demon Hunter. And Top 1K, definitely less popular, but that's because you don't... There are still some people playing Rafam Warlock in Top 1K. Because
they can.
They can, and respect, actually, to people who are like, I'm not going to be intimidated by this rank. I'm going to play whatever I want. Like,
you do you.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's like secretly a super high skill cap deck that, only the top people can pilot well. I think it's just some people want to play it, so they're going to play it, and they also happen to be there.
Yeah.
But the Aura Paladin, it is it's a little slower than what I normally play, so I'll probably switch back to Discover Hunter. Probably out this weekend I'll be mostly watching Worlds instead of playing, but
you could do both.
I don't have enough brain capacity to multitask that.
But you do have a ludicrously large monitor that you could do that on. It would be kind of a waste to not do that on that ludicrously large monitor if you think about it.
It's been making my husband so happy to have that monitor. Well, it's actually nice compared to 2 screens. What we didn't realize was like it makes the middle really usable. So we can have like 3 things along it. We've been playing a little bit of games with it. But then also he was like, look, I can have a Teams chat, email, and Excel.
Oh, yeah. And look, think about how wide you can make that spreadsheet.
I did send a picture in our private group chat of the budget for the nonprofit in full screen. So there was 5 years of budget all on one screen.
Amazing.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
It makes it really easy to compare this year to last year to the year before. Yeah. You can see the trends. You don't even have to make a graph for it. It is a fun monitor. But my brain does not have as much working memory as my computer does anymore. So it's going to be one or the other, I think. But the Aura Paladin has been a fun thing to play, and it's something that even as a more proactive player, I've enjoyed because you do really swing and really kill them. But also if you like a little bit slower decks, you have a little bit of that as well. It is the mid-range deck, perhaps we could say. And it is a newer deck. So if you've been wanting to play something with more new cards, this is absolutely a good option for you.
Well, yeah, it's a short one today. I think that's just kind of the nature of where we are in the year and all that. So we have many folks we'd like to thank. Check out our thanks section on the website at concede.com. You can also find our contact info, our show notes, and our Patreon information. You can monetarily support our show at patreon.com/coinconcede. Write into our email at coinconcede@gmail.com. Join us every week live by following us on Twitch at twitch.coinconcede.com. Join our community chats in our Discord at discord.coinconcede.com. Follow us on Blue Sky at CoinConcede. Subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/@CoinConcede. And if you'd like some CC swag, head on over to our shop at shop.coinconcede.com. Go from our website, please. Or go to the show notes and click the link in the show notes. So,
yes. Either way.
CoinConcedes?
I will coin concede to Mad at Arms, who was responsible for one of the funniest Commander games that I've gotten to play in quite a while. Because I was playing, you would be proud of me. I was playing a proactive deck. I was playing a deck that hits people, and it puts and it puts +1/+1 counters on everything when it does things, right? And so I had been building up a pretty scary board, and he says, I'm going to play this card that I've hidden away in another card called Sin's Spear Punishment, which is from the Final Fantasy set. That, long story short, it steals all of the 1/1 counters from everything on the board and then doubles them. Which made me count how many +1/+1 counters I had on everything, which was 68. So, and I wasn't the only one who had counters on things, but I was the one who had the most. So he had like 152 flying trample thing. And then I died, but I was laughing. And it was very funny. And I was clearly hoist on my own petard. So I just had to share that, but it was a very funny game that was very enjoyable, even though I was on the losing end of it.
Megasa?
I will coin concede, I guess, to my students who have worked really hard this semester and are so close to the finish line, as well as the students who I tutor, who just had their finals. And those seem to have gone well. Yeah, it's been, the English classes especially have been fun, going through the books with students and seeing what they write. I'm hopeful that my AP Lit student will have her essay in for me tomorrow, in part because I want to read it. I think it's a really cool topic. She's writing about John Krakauer's Into Thin Air and the sort of general idea of what a nonfiction writer owes their subjects in terms of accuracy, and what do you do in a situation like Into Thin Air, where they were up at the top of Mount Everest hallucinating because they didn't have enough oxygen, and nobody really knows what happens. So, and she's talking about how she felt like he handled that well, mainly by being like, look, nobody really knows what happens. Here's what people say, and here's what we saw after. It's always a good sign when you're really excited to read what your students wrote, because you're curious what came out of it.
Yeah, my dad loved mountain climbing, loved Everest stuff, so he had that book. We watched the movie in IMAX, right? The Everest movie. I think they did like another one more recently. I want to say.
And they do an Everest movie every few years. It feels like somebody's climbing up Mount Everest and things go poorly. That seems like a pretty good premise. That's pretty safe to make a movie out of.
So the amount of basically like Everest tourism, right? I think has led to unfortunate incidents. I guess I would say.
You would think all the disaster movies would scare those people off, but
you would think, yeah.
A certain type of person, I think it draws them towards.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's weird because like you have to be a certain amount of wealthy to engage in this kind of tourism, right? Because they have to hire Sherpas, get all the gear, do yeah. And I think that particular event was so well known because it just so happened, like people were making a documentary, not about that because no one knew or wanted a tragedy to happen.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you don't set out to document a tragedy unless you are really a sick person, I guess.
But, yeah, unless you're like going to a war zone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was a very sort of bizarre series of events. But at any rate, yeah, that's a very cool project. My coin conceit is just you two for holding down the fort last week when I was sick, and then this weekend taking on the editing so that I can focus on casting. And then to all of you listeners, because we will speak to you next from the new year, because we're going to be taking a break next week, since it'll be light news. All of the Blizzard folks are away on their sort of, it's like they have first their holiday schedule, right, where they are working on their own independent projects, and I feel like they have 2 weeks of that or something, and then they're actually fully on break. So there's not really going to be any news for us to cover, and I don't think really anything changing in the game itself. So yeah, we wouldn't really have anything next week. We'll be recording next on January 2nd, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we will see you all in the new year, where we will give our retrospective on this past year.
And then hope for happy tidings after that. Yes. So that's gonna do it for us for this week. So until next time, keep calm and project a positive aura. And if you see us on ladder, coin concede.
Coin concede.
Coin concede.
All life must end. I yield for now.
I concede. Well fought. I concede.
You win this one.
The victory is yours.
You have bested me.
I give up.
You win this one, friend.